When the lights dimmed inside the grand auditorium of Los Angeles, the audience of thousands fell silent. The International Young Musicians Showcase had already seen prodigies from London, Tokyo, and New York perform every note. So far had been flawless, every melody technically perfect, but none had truly moved the audience. Then came the name that no one recognized. Next, we welcome Maria Santos from Cebu, Philippines. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Cebu. Many in the audience had never heard of the place. The stage curtains parted, revealing a slight 16-year-old girl in a plain white dress. She looked fragile, almost lost beneath the bright lights. Her shoes were scuffed. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched an old, golden saxophone, its brass body dulled with age. But when she took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and lifted the instrument to her lips, something shifted in the room. The first note that emerged wasn't loud or showy. It was alive. It carried a raw ache that silenced even the judge's whispers. Her melody wasn't the polished perfection of a conservatory student. It was the sound of a life that had known loss, longing, and love. Far too early, Maria had grown up in a small orphanage in Cebu, a coastal city surrounded by both beauty and poverty. Her parents had died when she was 6, her mother during childbirth, and her father, a fisherman, lost at sea during a storm. The orphanage was humble, thin walls, leaky roofs, but it was filled with laughter, faith, and the occasional gift from kind strangers. Music became her refuge. She'd found the old saxophone in a donation box, missing 2 keys and covered in dents. While other children played outside, Maria sat on the orphanage steps, trying to coax sound out of it. The first time she made a clear note, she smiled through tears. From then on, every night she played for the stars above the Cebu shoreline, imagining her parents could hear. Her sister Elena, the nun who ran the orphanage, noticed the girl's growing talent. She recorded Maria's playing on a borrowed phone and uploaded it to the internet, not expecting much. Within a week, the video had been shared thousands of times. Comments flooded in. Her music feels like a prayer. You can hear her heart. Eventually, an American foundation that supported young musicians invited Maria to perform in Los Angeles. When Sister Elena told her the news, Maria had cried. Not from excitement, but fear. Sister, I've never even been on a plane, she whispered. The nun smiled gently. Then let the wings of faith carry you. Child. Now, standing on that massive stage thousands of miles from home, Maria's heart pounded. The hall was enormous, filled with cameras and people who looked like they'd never known hunger or sleepless nights. But when she started to play, she wasn't performing for them. She was playing for her parents, for Sister Elena, for the children. Back at the orphanage, listening on a small borrowed radio, the song she played was called Where the Light Stays. She had written it herself, a slow, rising melody that began in sorrow but climbed toward hope. Halfway through, the music softened until it was almost a whisper, like a voice praying in the dark. Then, without warning, she changed tempo. The sadness turned into fire, her fingers moving faster, her breath stronger. It was as if the entire weight of her life had transformed into light pouring through her saxophone. When she hit the final note, she held it, long, pure, trembling with emotion. And then silence for a moment. No one moved. Then the entire hall erupted into applause. People rose from their seats, clapping and cheering through tears. Even the judges, seasoned musicians, who rarely showed emotion, stood and applauded. Backstage, a reporter approached her, his voice gentle. Maria, that was extraordinary. What inspired your performance tonight? She hesitated, then smiled softly. I just wanted to tell the world that even when life breaks you, you can still make music with the pieces. The video of her performance went viral overnight. Within days, millions across America watched the small girl from Cebu, who played her heart out on an old saxophone. Late-night hosts shared her clip. Celebrities tweeted their admiration, and news channels called her the miracle from the Philippines. But while the world saw a rising star, Maria stayed grounded. When a famous record label offered her a contract, she asked only one thing: can part of what I earn go to build music rooms for orphans? The executives, stunned, agreed, and soon, her first performance proceeds went straight back to the very place where her story began, the orphanage in Cebu. Weeks later, Maria returned home. When she stepped out of the car, the children ran toward her, cheering and hugging her legs. Sister Elena stood nearby, eyes wet with pride. You've done something wonderful, child, she said. Maria smiled and handed her the saxophone. This belongs here, she whispered. It gave me a voice. Now, maybe it can give someone else one too. That night, as she walked through the orphanage, she heard another small child trying to play a shaky tune on that same saxophone. The sound was rough, uneven, but Maria's heart swelled. She saw herself in that child, scared, hopeful, and full of dreams. Months later, Maria was invited back to America for another performance, this time on one of the biggest stages in the world. As she walked onto the stage, she didn't bring the old saxophone. Instead, she carried a new one, a gift from a foundation that had been inspired by her story, but she carried something far more powerful than the instrument. She carried a message. When the applause died down, Maria spoke softly into the microphone. This music isn't just mine, it belongs to every child who has ever felt forgotten. It belongs to every dream that almost died, and every heart that kept beating anyway. Her next song began slowly, each note like a tear falling into light. The camera panned over the audience, people of all ages, backgrounds, and beliefs, many of them crying openly. She ended with her signature song, Where the Light Stays, and once again, when the last note faded, the crowd rose to their feet. Afterward, one of the judges from her first performance came up to her and said quietly, "You've done more than play music tonight, Maria. You've reminded us what it means to feel." For Maria, success never meant fame or fortune. It meant connection. She believed every performance was a bridge carrying love from one heart to another. She started a small foundation that funded instruments for orphanages around the world. Letters poured in from children who said they wanted to be like her, not because she was famous, but because she gave them hope. Years later, when she looked back on that first trembling night in Los Angeles, Maria realized something profound. She hadn't just changed her life, she had changed the lives of thousands who heard her story and remembered that beauty can rise from brokenness. Her journey proved that talent can come from anywhere, even from a quiet orphanage in Cebu, and that sometimes the most powerful music doesn't come from the richest halls or the finest instruments. It comes from the human soul, unfiltered and true. As one American journalist later wrote in a feature about her, Maria Santos didn't just play the saxophone, she played the world's heartstrings. And so, every time someone watches that viral video, every time her melody drifts through speakers in homes, cars, and classrooms, it carries the same message she spoke on stage. Even when life leaves you with nothing, if you still have a song in your heart, you are never truly alone. Her story reminds us all that, no matter where we come from, kindness and courage can echo farther than any stage, and hope, like music, can travel across oceans, touching souls that need it most.